I want to clarify that the word says first that which is natural, afterwards that which is spiritual. I'm talking today about the release from time and the release from the technology or the demands of the earth realm on our body. But time and technology are increasing in the earth, and things are happening globally at a very, very rapid rate. Where before it may take you several months to travel from one side of the country to the other side of the country, now you can be across the entire country in just a matter of a couple of hours. Where before we would have to wait for the newspapers to come out so we could understand or hear the speeches that were being given in Washington, D.C. Today, the president can have breakfast in Washington, lunch in LA, and dinner in Paris because the technology is increasing that fast. Not only that, but he can sit in his office and make a speech from his office and everybody can hear it instantaneously. As time in the earth begins to be increased in the measure of what we can accomplish in a very short period of time, so the same thing is true in the realms of the spirit. It's now time for us to begin to govern time. And what that means is that we begin to take control of our time rather than our time controlling us. Most of us are in a mindset that everything that we do during the course of the day is done by time slots. Everything that in our personal, in our family schedule, in our business schedule is all scheduled according to earth time. But today I want to talk to you about how to be released from that measure of time. But I want you to be able to see what time looks like in the realms of the universe, in the realms of our own atmosphere, so that you can begin to see that time is stretchable. Space and time go in hand. Time is made in a very conical type shape. And as you can see from the picture, these cones are what we actually have been breaking out of when we ascend and go forward in time. Once we learn how to go backward in time, stay where we are in the presence in time, and go forward in time, there's going to be a release from the limitation of the knowledge that we begin to operate in the earth. But time and space are really, really connected. We used to think that time was a permanent and unchangeable thing, and we just lived our lives according to a stage of time. Newton used to teach us that we were all moving at the same time, and that time was the same everywhere in the whole cosmos. Rather, time is a living, active, constantly changing thing that actually bends around us. Einstein says that time is relative to each person. We can all be in the same room and be in different times and different spaces at the very same time. I can actually stay in rich time, or something that I think it is Ian calls Eden time. While I'm in rich time, you can be standing in poor time, meaning that you're sweating and working away while I in myself am at total rest, and vice versa. It's possible for us to be functioning in different realms of time at the very same time. Time is like a web that can be pulled and stretched and moved around, and it's meant to serve us, not to govern us. Actually, in the earth realm, the Lord initiated time so that we could chart and date and time mostly our spiritual migration. Every one of you will be quite aware that there was a day and a time when you gave your life to Jesus. There was a day and a time when you got filled with the Holy Spirit. There was a day and a time when you first ascended. Many of us actually judge our own life according to different times and according to different seasons. You might remember when something happened by where were you in your marital life? Was it before or after your children were born? Time is something that has controlled our whole natural environment. Our calendars are perfect proof of that. Our our telephones that we set all of our chart all of our alarms according to, guide us through the day. But time is like a substance. It's a faith, and it's actually a currency that you can use, because we say time is money and money is currency. Therefore, we can use time. Ephesians says, see then that you walk uprightly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, for the days are evil. What I mean is that outside of Eden time, time has become corrupted. It's become a little bit twisted. It actually controls and manipulates a whole lot of our life, even though it's there by divine design, so that we can structure our understanding of the earth realm according to a kind of stable idea called time. The frequency went from, in regards to time, went from a very, very high frequency to a very, very low frequency. And suddenly we come under something called lunar or solar time. And in fact, this is very important, because in the end time, the sun and the moon are no longer going to control our understanding of time. We can't believe how flexible time is. We can bend it, we can stretch it, we can move it, we can shake it, we can refashion it, we can move it backwards even, go backwards in time, or we can rest in whatever time that we're in. At this particular point, I want everybody to become aware of the fact that where the Lord is bringing us to in the revealing of us as the sons of God is that we're going to begin to govern time rather than time governing us. One of the things that I really want to encourage you all to do in activating this in your own life is begin to pray to become linked with what Ian calls Eden time. I love that term Eden time, because Eden time is a time for where we're flexible inside of eternity, where there's no sweat, no labor, everybody's at rest. Everything is provided for us through resting in Him. We're now entering, as most of you have heard the teaching, into the seventh day. That is the seventh day of man's communion with the divine nature, 1,000 years being like one day. So if we have 2,000 years between Adam and Abraham, 2,000 years between Abraham and Jesus, 2,000 years between Jesus until today, that means we've now stepped into the seventh day. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 6,000 years, 6 days. So somewhere around the year 2000, we stepped into the seventh day. The seventh day really stands for the day of rest. We're going to begin to find that the things that we used to labor and work so hard for, all of a sudden are becoming very simple. And in fact, the more we ascend and descend and make our decrees and our declarations based only on the things that we saw the Father doing while we were in heaven, we're going to find that the things we used to spend hours and hours and hours laboring over are going to become very, very simple. When we invest ourselves in seeking radical intimacy with God until we come into the union with the divine nature, every single thing that we have need of will be met in His presence, including our need for time. In heaven, anybody here in your ascension experiences seen everybody toiling and laboring and sweating and anxious because they can't get their work done? Everything there is done, and there's a lot done, but it's all done in rest. The word says, as it is in heaven, so let it be done in the earth. That's a kingdom mentality. And once we enter into the rest of knowing that whatever things we do there can manifest and reproduce here, with a limit on how much toil and sweat we put in, because it's being done by the sovereign will of God. Many of you have been ascending and descending into the heaven. Have you ever noticed that in heaven, no one is ever late? The issue is in heaven, you're totally free from time or space or distance. You don't serve time. Rather, time serves you. Even while we're in heaven, many of our ascension experiences, and especially in the beginning, this was quite true. We could go and spend 8 to 10 hours in the heavenly realms and come back, and it's like 5 minutes has passed here. And or we could spend 10 to 12 hours here in the heavens, and it's like we don't even notice the passage of time because it's so magnificent, so glorious, so beautiful that time just seems to fly. Actually, if we didn't have to come back in order to perform and perfect the will of the Lord concerning us, I think many of us would be totally content just to stay there. I know there have been times when the revelation of God and the mysteries of God being revealed were so overwhelming to me that I thought, oh, do I really have to go back into the earth realm? I'm going to begin to show you how the release from time works so that you can all become, quote unquote, lords over your own time. Time is a lesser dimension, and I want everybody to write that down. It's a lesser dimension. In the realms of the spirit, in every single arena of heaven and kingdom, there are 360 different dimensions, and inside of those 360 dimensions, there are 360 different realms. Because man was created to actually pre-exist time, we were given dominion, not only over the earth, not over the animals, not over everything that God created, but also dominion over time in order for us to be able to take control of time and manage it. Ephesians 1, when it says that we need to redeem the time, that word redeem the time is ex ego razo, which means taking power away from another. So when we're redeeming the time, what that's actually literally translated as being is we're taking away the power that time has over us. What does it mean that we have the power to take back time? Because if we don't learn how to do that, it will exercise power over us. What we do not govern will eventually end up governing us. The Lord is raising us up right now to rule and reign with him in his throne. Once we begin to activate ourselves in that position, time no longer has control and manipulation over us, because everything that has been created, which time is also a created dimension inside of the earth, and it is put there by God. Please don't misunderstand me. It's not that time is not important in the earth, but what the Lord is wanting to do is he's wanting to release us from the control and manipulation that it has over our lives. Hi, I'm Nancy. I just want to thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And if you're interested in lengthy, deeper teachings concerning the mysteries of God, contact us at sons.global and partner with us as we become co-workers and co-creators together with God for the establishment of his kingdom and his righteousness in all the earth.